I've done a video similar to this before, and I just posted a video about what the Lord's showing me is coming, and it aligns with what the Word of God says about the mark of the beast. It is a literal mark. If you look it up in the Greek, it's like it. The word for mark is stamp. Back then it was a like a signet ring or some kind of a metal stamp that they would press into hot wax to leave their mark. So that's the word for mark that they use for this word right here. This word mark is a literal stamp, not symbolic or spiritual. It's a literal mark that will be caused for all to receive in their right hand or foreheads. And without it, you won't be able to buy or sell. This day is coming. The Word of God told us this 2,000 years ago, and we're living in the end times, so we know that this is going to happen. And I believe it's within our lifetime. So I wanted to look at some news articles that show how this is we already know it's been implemented with like pets, the microchip, the RFID chip. But right here, gotslaves.info, this was in 2012. USDA wants RFID tracking technology to be mandatory in U.S. food stamp program. So it says they quote that Revelation 13, 16 and 17 verses, and it says, in a little while, the above seen in Revelation 13 will become a global reality. People can no longer buy or sell without the mark of the beast, and sometimes that would be no longer be able to eat. The USDA is now considering biometric identification for all individuals who want to benefit from the food and nutrition services. The RFID chip may just soon be a must for everyone who does not want to starve. Okay, so it says biometric identifications systems are currently operational at some levels in Arizona, California, Connecticut, Illinois, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, and Texas. Finger imaging. Okay, but just, the reason they would implement this is mainly so that you can't give your card to somebody to use, or it can get lost or stolen, right? And you would have to be present, sorry, to be able to buy your groceries, and you wouldn't be able to sell it to use cash for anything else. So it's to prevent fraud with the food stamp benefits that they give you. But so it sounds like a good thing, but the overall outcome is, another way for them to have control and to implement their ultimate plan, okay, which is to microchip everybody. This is from USA Today. It says this was from 2017, just this past summer. You will get chipped eventually, okay? Jefferson Graham writes. So here's a little video of the Wisconsin firm that had all of its employees embedded with a microchip. And social media wants to know, is my company next? So what if your job required that you did this, or you would lose your job? You may have to face that reality someday. You will get chipped. It's just a matter of time. Okay. In the aftermath of a Wisconsin firm embedding microchips in employees last week to ditch company badges and corporate logons, the internet has entered into a full throttle debate. Religious activists are so appalled they've been penning nasty one-star reviews of the company. And on the flip side, seemingly everyone else wants to know, is this what real life is going to be like at work soon? Will I be chipped? It will happen to everybody, says Noel Chesley, 49, Associate Professor of Sociology at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, but not this year and not in 2018. Maybe not my generation, but certainly that of my kids. It will. Gene Munster, an investor and analyst at Loop Ventures, is an advocate for augmented reality, virtual reality, and other new technologies. He thinks embedded chips in human bodies is 50 years away. I think it's within before this generation passes. In 10 years, Facebook, Google, Apple, and Tesla will not have their employees chipped. You will see some extreme forward-looking tech people adopting it, but not large companies. I disagree with that. The idea of being chipped has too much negative connotation today, but 2067 we will have been desensitized by the social stigma. True. I even think they can do that to the the 18, 20-year-old population alive today right now. So it goes on. I'll leave the thing so that you can read it. I don't want to read the whole thing. Let's see what it says at the end. So right here it says, when Jesus was raised, he was raised body and soul, and it was him, not zombie, not a ghost, and we are raised up in the same way. Kasari wrote, employees of 32 Market, you are not a walking debit card. Get used to it, counsels Chesley. 10 years ago, employees didn't look at corporate emails over the weekend. Now they do. We do, whether we like it or not. Be it wearable technology or an embedded chip, the always connected chip is going to be part of our lives, she says. And then I have a video. I think it is a link to the same article, but it's talking about the invisible RFID. This was posted in 2016. An invisible RFID tattoo plan for humans. And this is more like what I see it as possibly being, so that people that don't want to see it, it's not going to offend them and they're going to think it's no big deal. You can just take that little ink stamp and hold it there for a second or two, and it just, like you get the stamp at the amusement parks with the invisible ink. But then just imagine like a little tattooer just putting that into your hand in a second or two, and you can't see it unless, only a reader can read it, or an RFID reader. So Cellmark Innovations has successfully developed a chip-less biocompatible RFID and has tested its product on cattle and laboratory rats using microneedles and an ink capsule. The skin is tattooed with an invisible ink. Okay. Although the tattoo can't be seen by the human eye, it can presently be detected as far as 4 feet away. So a scanner, electromagnetic scanner could scan it, because it still is RFID, but it's just within the ink. It's not an actual chip. And it's permanent. It takes a mere 5 to 10 seconds to stamp or tattoo an animal, and the ink remains in the skin. That's what I believe it's going to be like. I think that's a reader. They said that for the cattle, they use a 15-digit number to track. The first 3 are the county code, and the remaining are the unique identifiers, like the owner's specific numbers or whatnot, address, phone number, whatever. The numbers would link into a database containing more information. Scientist Mark Pedanowski said that it is safe for both animals and people to plans to license the RFID invisible tattoo to be used on military personnel. He said that the ink could be used to track and rescue soldiers. It could help identify friends or foes, prevent friendly fire, and help save soldiers' lives. It's a very scary proposition when you're dealing with humans, but with military personnel, we're talking about saving soldiers' lives, and it may be something worthwhile. It can say where it has been, who it has talked to, who it has eaten with, and who else it's been in contact with. So see, that tattoo can let them know where you've been, who you've talked to, what other numbers you've been in contact with, right? Because it'll upload that information. Who you've eaten with, because you're in the same location with them as well, and who else has been in contact with it. So basically, anyone else around you in the same area, it's going to it's going to detect their frequency as well and put that into the information on yours. They already have these little trackers, like the little metal stamps, flat ones that they put on produce, not produce, but expensive items at the grocery store, so that people won't steal them. Okay. Okay. So basically, all of the needs with the chip could be met, are met by the new RFID tattoo instead of the chip, but is completely invisible. And of course, an invisible tattoo will be much more acceptable than a chip implant. Remember that the chips were planned to be placed above the eyebrow or the hand of the military individuals, which, just like the Bible, the right hand or the forehead. Ideally, it was to be placed in both their hands and forehead, which would become positive identification when a soldier was decapitated and only the head or body was recovered. The chips were planned to be connected to a database which contained all of the individual's medical and financial and historical information. One company produced a commercial which showed a man going through a shopping center, and we saw that, and it just scanned all his items and gave him a receipt, right? So, sorry, I have these emails from my class popping up. In summary, we now have an invisible tattoo which can be placed on humans. This tattoo can be linked to a certain central database. To connect with its database, there is a country code consisting of 3 numbers. One could theorize that if a one world government were to ever attempt to form these 3 digits, their numbers would be first, and then maybe our social security number and birth date, something like that. And we have also discovered that this invisible tattoo can trace our food, including meat and even spinach. Not only can the buying and selling of foods be tracked, but they can track even the very foods themselves. Okay, so would you take it? Don't take it. That's my advice. Don't take it. All right. Pray against it. Pray that God gives you the strength and the courage and the faith to resist. God bless.